Thank you. Thanks so much. And yeah, you can ask any questions you want. A first question.
Hello. Hello. Is that a bag of compost?
No, that's a very, very good question. In fact, it's such an excellent question that you get one of what's in here. There's several things in here. And this is a codependent lesbian space alien seek same t-shirt from the director's first feature-length film that I was also in, and the alien's face glows in the dark.
I just wanted to tell you that I was struck by the humor of your movie, and I swear it utilizes the same humor that you would see in like The Office, and it intertwines that somehow into some lesbian version of Fight Club. So I just wanted to say thank you for that experience, because that was just totally different than anything I've ever experienced, so thank you.
You're welcome. I'll tell the director you said that. Oh, there's a...
How many inhalers did you go through?
Another really good question. Here's oh my gosh, here's another one. Here's another t-shirt that also has a glow-in-the-dark face on it. And we can mix and match t-shirts if people have the wrong sizes. No, just we had one prop inhaler. That was empty.
Hell, I want a t-shirt.
Sorry.
So how many years did it take, how long did it take to make the film?
Well, don't gasp, but it took 2 years to make the film. And not because we worked on it every day. We worked on it off and on over the course of 2 years, because some of the actors live in LA and the rest of us are in New York City. So we would have to come together for a couple weeks to do a shoot, and then we would go apart and then find time to come together again for a couple weeks. So it took 2 years going back and forth to bring everybody together enough to shoot the whole film. I think there's more questions.
Me. Mine is more of a statement. My mother passed away, and my mother loved Talbot's. She would have loved this film. I mean, she shopped at Talbot's every single week. She would have loved it.
That's a good question. You get a vintage Sundance postcard from the Foxy Merkins.
Okay, my question is, how did you do your casting? How did you search for your cast members?
So the director, whose name is Madeline Alnick, for many years, she was a playwright and had many of her plays produced in New York City. And I've been in several of her plays, like over a 10-year period, and most of the actors that you see in the film have been in her plays over, like, say, a 15 or 20-year period. And she then, about 6-7 years ago, she went to film school, started making films, and then she would start to pull people that have been in her plays to be in her films. Although an exception is Jackie Monahan, who played Jo. She just saw Jackie doing some stuff on the internet, on YouTube, and she thought it was very funny, so she reached out to her. And that's how she met and worked with Jackie. And that was a good question. That was a good question. There's one more good question left. Not that they aren't all good questions.
Does Talbot's know of this, and are you expecting a cease and desist anytime soon?
Well, that question's not as good as the other ones. So you can have a no. So I don't believe Talbot's knows. However, we didn't do anything illegal. We in fact actually we like to tell people, like, shop at Talbot's, because we realized, like, how much customer loyalty they had. Like, you'd see people going dressed in pristine Talbot outfits, coming out buying more outfits. But yeah, so they don't know, but we didn't have to get permission, because, like, it's in terms of parody, because it's a parody, there's like a fair use clause if you're parodying something. And I think it's clearly a parody. I don't think anyone really believes there are prostitutes in the dressing room at Talbot's. But it would be illegal if we had gone into Talbot's and shot a scene in there, or went into another store and pretended like it was Talbot's. That would not be legal to do that. Who has like a size women's medium question? What's that? Yeah, any men with questions? Who wears a women's medium with a curvaceous cut?
Yeah.
Oh, you get it. Wow. I remember seeing you there over and over and over again, now that you mention it.
Oh, I have a quick question. My question was, what other motivation did you have besides making people laugh when you made the movie? Like, was there any other thing that you wanted people to get out of it?
I'm sorry, would you say that again?
Was there anything other than laughter that you were trying to get out of? Like, what was your motivation for making the movie other than, like, making people laugh? Did you have anything else in there?
Oh, I see. Well, you know, certainly comedy is, like, the most important thing for the film, so that's, like, the number one thing. But, I mean, something just sort of as a byproduct of that, we never get to see women do roles like this. And even though it seems really outrageous, even though we don't really do anything that outrageous, it kind of seems outrageous because we just don't see women play parts like this. And I know that, you know, women do things too, you know. And the director's like, I'm interested in making a hustler film, and we can do that. It's not like we can't do that because we're women. So I think as a byproduct, we get to see like really great actresses. Like all the actresses in the movie are so good. Like all these people come together to do a very funny film. Well, thank you. Here's a postcard for the comedy question.
On this next film, when is another one coming out? When's your next film?
Oh, okay. So there, I don't know. There's a couple. The woman who directed this film is working on another project, but it's in the very beginning stages, and I don't even know what it's called, and I may not even be in it. And there's been a couple other people who've asked me about projects that are, you know, alleged projects that could happen in the next couple years, and it may or may not happen, but I don't happen to know the titles of those films. But in terms of, but I also write plays for the stage, and I'm currently in the middle of a first draft of a couple of comedies that will probably take place in New York City in the next year to 2 years.
My question deals with, were any of the actors or actresses in the movie people who had ever experienced homelessness or had ever had any amount of time living on the street? So was there any kind of coming from the heart or coming from experience that was portrayed in the movie to kind of give it some credibility? I don't believe that any of the actors in it have ever gone through that, so knock on wood. But I have not for this project, but other projects I've interviewed women who are strippers and sex workers for a couple of other projects that I've done. So I was really glad to sort of bring that to the table, because I had, for a couple different things, I've interviewed sex workers and strippers. So that, you know, that was something that was helpful for me personally, doing this. You know, and that's sort of a good question actually too, because like, you know, the male hustler films we see, like Midnight Cowboy and My Own Private Idaho, and I don't believe the directors of those films have ever been street hustlers, but they still made that movie. Do you know what I mean? And I think sort of like, well, they you know, they made it, and I think that was the director's point. She's like, well, I've never been a street hustler, but I can still tell this story. I owe two people. Okay, so the card. We have a card going that way, and then we have a card going back to this gentleman here. That's the last of the cards, but you don't have to stop asking questions. I think there was a question here.
Kind of a two-part question. Were any of the actors or actresses straight, and generally living a straight lifestyle? And what is your general feeling about, on a more global scale, using actors and actresses that are straight to portray?
Well, in this film, I think there's one female actress who's straight, and that's me. And no, I'm joking. It's not me. But no, there is. I think there's one person who is straight. And well, globally, historically, people who are LGBT do not play LGBT characters. And historically, it was, let's say 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, nobody wanted to play a gay character. Straight actors didn't want it because nobody wanted to be known as gay, and so a lot has changed. I think it's awesome to see LGBT folks playing LGBT characters. Why not? Because we've been playing everybody else, for the past 20 years. It's exciting to get to play, something that maybe we really are. So yeah, obviously because more people can do film because it's digital, they can cast anybody they want to do anything they want. So that's very exciting.
Lisa, do you have a website, or are you on Facebook where we can follow what you're doing?
You sure can. I have a website. It's lisa-haas.com. If you like the Foxy Merkins, you should check out the director's other feature-length film, which is Codependent Lesbian Space Alien Seek Same, and that's. Yeah, it's on Netflix, and a lot of the same actors are in that movie. And then the director has 2 shorts that are on YouTube that are very, very funny, and you can watch for free. One's called Countertransference, and one is called Hold Up. And actually, if you go to the Foxy Merkins website, there's foxymerkins.com. There are links that take you to all the actors and other movies and stuff like that. So that's one way. And if you like us on Facebook, then we'd come up in your feed when there's news about it.
And the other thing is, did you have to get permission to film inside the bus terminal?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, the bathroom is actually not in Port Authority. That was someplace else. And there were some shots in Port Authority, and you're technically not supposed to shoot in Port Authority. And we were asked to leave Port Authority a couple times. And there's several businesses in New York City that I'm not really welcome back to. They're like move along, just keep on moving. And some places we got permission to shoot, and some places we just stole shots. So, and strangely enough, some of the places we got permission to shoot at, they're the ones that are like, okay, move along, we've had enough of this, just keep on going.
One more.
Thank you. Okay, how did you get the music to your movie? Who did the scores?
Dan Bartfield was the composer who composed the music and played the music, and even he was the whistler in it too. He has also whistled it. The very last song is something he didn't record that you saw. But when it becomes available on iTunes, his song that he recorded for the end is going to be on it. His final song wasn't ready when this was going around to festivals. But so all of the music is original from Dan Bartfield.
Thank you all. We have the Desperado photo backdrop out there, and Lisa, would you like to pose for some pictures with our guests?
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
So it's out in the hallway. Thank you all for coming. Our next film starts at 7:15.
Yes, thank you everyone. Thank you.